Throughout the history of anime, it's practically a requirement for every shonen MC to embody at least 2, if not all 3, of these traits. Loud, emotional, and foolishly positive. And since they're the main character, they dominate most of the screen time with those vibes constantly. Loud, emotional, and foolishly positive. But here's the thing, not every situation calls for emotional and/or an upbeat response. When the plot takes a dark turn, when things get serious fast, the MC's optimism isn't always the mood to go with. And that right there is where a certain type of character thrives. A special kind of character fits in. The one who can match the MC in strength, but brings a whole different energy. The character who steals the spotlight every time they appear on screen. The type that nearly always dominates the popularity charts across generations and genres of anime. The silent but deadly type. Sometimes they're rivals, sometimes they're anti-heroes. They don't usually get all the screen time, but when they do, they make it count. Cold scowls, one-word answers that may even be reduced to a half-assed grunt. And like the name suggests, they're not big on talking. Today, I want to dive into 2 things. What makes these characters so captivating and who does it best? Hey, what's up everybody? Today we're going to be talking about silent but deadly characters with a little bit of cinematic edge to it. On this channel, I do a little bit of anime and gaming opinions while also doing a little bit of gaming and animating myself. Please hit that like button, please comment your thoughts, and also please subscribe. It really helps the channel out a lot. I've seen a lot of y'all watching are not subscribed, so hopefully I can make you feel like joining the gang today. But no, right, let's get back into this. Silence. In the silence, you find balance, you find mystery, you find inner resolve. But you also see the actions of these characters on screen that need no introduction. Piccolo's sacrifice for Gohan, Levi Ackerman rabidly going after the Beast Titan, Roy Mustang just... you get the picture. The scarcity of their words puts more emphasis in the actions of their crash out moments. But I know what y'all are probably thinking. Y'all are probably coming up with a whole bunch of examples of a whole bunch of people in your own heads. But this just might be my personal opinion. But I think some of the most popular silent but deadly characters aren't always the ones that do it the best. So I got a list of honorable mentions that I really think really fit. They don't do it the best, but these are my honorable mentions. Piccolo, Hitsugaya, Toge Inumaki, and I almost put Itachi on this list. The reason why Piccolo I put in the honorable mentions, he wasn't introduced as the silent but deadly type. He was introduced as the villain plotting out on revenge. But as his role shifted in the story, he kind of morphed into the silent but deadly type. And then let's be honest, as time went by, Piccolo's role kind of diminished. Also, Goku was just too strong. Maybe Trunks fits the silent but deadly type to Vegeta, I don't know, but nah, I don't think Piccolo is top tier silent but deadly. Hitsugaya is in a very unique situation because Ichigo is not a typical MC. He's not loud, he's not emotionally driven, he's not foolishly positive. So without having that contrast, Hitsugaya, he doesn't fit the silent but deadly role as well as somebody else. Also, Hitsugaya is in a weird position where he should be stronger than the MC. He's just not. Captain should be strong, but if you watch the first like 100 something episodes of Bleach, you're really not up there with them boys. The Soul Society kind of treats him like an errand boy. And then Toge kind of fits in the same kind of archetype that I put Hitsugaya in. Toge's MC is not bubbly, he's not loud, so it's not that much of a contrast. Also, he has a pretty minor role, which sucks because silence is like his whole deal. But kind of like how the Soul Society treats Hitsugaya like errand boy, he's treated like comic relief and he's just not as strong as the others in Jujutsu High. I almost put Itachi on this list, but he was a little bit too silent. We didn't know what was going on with him for the longest, up until the point where he died. Actually, a little bit after he died. Now this silent but deadly archetype is hard to pull off. Even some of the greatest don't get it right, but when it works, it works. I got 4 names for you. Zoro, Levi, Kakashi, Roy Mustang. Zoro is the model silent but deadly character. He was really one of the only ones of his type to remain the rival character to the MC, which is obviously Luffy. Every moment Zoro has is instantly peak, even the ones that don't directly involve him. For example, Usopp versus Luffy was a peak moment in the show, but I think one of the subtle moments that made that part the peak moment in the show is when Luffy and the rest of the Straw Hat Pirates came to Zoro kind of for like some reflection, some added in like We need your help. We need your advice. And spoilers, but this man Zoro basically told him, you have to handle your business. You're the captain of the ship, literally. You gonna have to handle that. We respect you because you are the leader, and if you are not going to be the leader, you're gonna lose respect from us. He has a very strong moral compass, obviously, and is totally bent on loyalty and honor, without even saying much. And then of course, he has his direct moments too. I can't go into all of them, but I'll probably go with the most famous one, which is the Thriller Bark moment where he just takes all of Luffy's pain. He barely said a word that whole moment, but that's all right because his actions in that moment is what spoke volumes, mostly about his loyalty and his resolve. But that's what I'm talking about. That's what makes these characters so impactful. They don't get all of the moments, they don't get all the shine. But when they do, they make it useful and impactful. And it goes without explanation. Levi is one of the only silent but deadly characters that doesn't have a obsessive passion or loyalty for his MC. But, you know, then again, now that I say that, who even is the MC in AOT? But that's neither here nor there. Levi is one of these characters that has the most aura. He has the most aura in his own show. He probably has the most following of his own show. Now that I think about it, he does have the most following in his own show. Just like a lot of these silent but deadly characters have. And the reason why Levi is one of my favorite silent but deadly characters is for a very specific reason. And yes, it's probably for the reason you're thinking. The Captain Irwin moment. The Beast Titan was mowing them fools down. Killed a whole platoon, whatever they were, he killed them all, wiped them all. Right after Irwin's best speech. And that began the saga of Captain Levi versus the Beast Titan. That began that whole saga. The reason why that point stuck out to me is because Levi is not one of the characters that talks about the comrades all the time. His default emote is not the power of friendship like it is for other MCs and other anime characters. So your initial thoughts aren't to think of him like that. But it was only after so many people got killed in the Beast Titan incident that you really saw Captain Levi crash out. And that wasn't even his most emotional scene, the first scene with the Beast Titan. His most emotional scene was trying to convince Eren to revive Captain Irwin instead of Armin. That scene on top of the rooftop changed everything about the show moving forward. That was one of the beginnings of the rifts between Eren and Levi's whole relationship. And basically, whether it caught you off guard or not, you saw the relationship Levi had with Irwin and how far he was going to go to protect that relationship. And basically what I'm saying is that from that point forward, Levi became one of the most relatable characters on the show because he wasn't emotionless. He was just reserved, as most of the silent but deadly characters are. And that isn't embodied more in anybody but Kakashi. Now, Kakashi is one of the only silent but deadly characters that I would say surpassed the MC in stature, at least. Of course, he began stronger than Naruto, of course, because Naruto was a kid. But Kakashi became the actual Hokage. He became the 6th Hokage after the 4th Great Ninja War. People forget about that. And admittedly, that was a pretty weird choice, but he was Hokage for like the length of a movie. But Kakashi was one of the first silent but deadly characters a lot of people were introduced to because Naruto was the first anime, real anime that people were introduced to. We did not know much about Kakashi. We didn't know much about Kakashi at all. I remember maybe for the first 10 years of Naruto, people were really wondering what he looked like under that mask. And then you keep watching the show, you find out he's got a Sharingan, but he's not a Uchiha. He can use all the ninjutsu elements and he basically knows every jutsu. The more and more layers that were peeled back on Kakashi as the show went on made everybody question, what are you really hiding under that mask? And why do you have so many secrets? You can use Chidori, Fireball Jutsu, but you could also use Shadow Clone and you can use Rasengan. And even though Kakashi wasn't the first silent but deadly character, of course he wasn't. He was a lot of our firsts. And probably the one of this archetype that got the most screen time. We got to see his whole storyline, his whole character arc come to a complete end. Like start to finish end over the course of like a decade and a half. So Kakashi had to make this list. And then of course, Roy Mustang from Full Metal Alchemist. Now Roy Mustang, I put him at last for a reason because he has one of the most interesting parts. Out of all the singular moments that this archetype of character has had, he's probably had the best. Roy Mustang starts off the show as more, aloof, a person of power, strong, but, aloof. But it's not till his partner is killed, which happens pretty early on in the show, that he turns into a silent but deadly character. Now, depending on which version of the show you watched, I watched Brotherhood, but depending on which version of the show you watch, he basically turns. In Brotherhood, he turns his hate to the specific sin or the specific killer of his comrade. Well, basically in the original animation, from everything I'm reading, he turns his hate towards the corruption specifically. But in Brotherhood, he's out for blood. Because if it wasn't for Riza pointing the gun at his head before Edward and Scarred appeared, Colonel would have killed Envy, which obviously the Alchemist needed alive. But Roy wasn't hearing none of that. He was putting belt to ass. This moment of the show is when his whole character arc, his whole Detective Conan, I'm gonna figure out who killed my comrade. That's when that whole character arc came to fruition. And he really had the chance to turn evil at that moment. Calling Roy Mustang versus Lust and Envy a fight is really not doing it justice. It was really just, it was a top tier, brutal crash out. It was like stomping somebody's face into the curb and then doing one of, you know, these numbers. You couldn't see, but I was basically, you know, doing like this with my foot on the ground. Okay. So yeah, Roy Mustang didn't start off the show as a silent but deadly character. He just started out silent. But then he became deadly when it was about revenge. Is revenge one of the sins? Let me look that up. Okay, no, it says revenge is a component of wrath. Wrath was in the show. There was nobody in the show named Revenge. I was about to say, I don't remember anybody being revenge. Gluttony, greed, wrath, lust, envy. We're forgetting to. Okay, no, I'm looking at it now. Sloth and pride. To be honest with y'all, I was watching Bleach. I saw Hitsugaya and I was like, you know what? There's something off about Hitsugaya that I noticed in so many other characters, and I really wanted to harp on that in this video. Everybody watching this video, check out the streams. Please, please, please check out the streams. And if you are checking out the streams, I see you. Thank you to everybody who's been popping into the streams. If you are watching this long, you are guaranteed to like all of my other videos because I posted a lot of other things like this. And if you are thinking about subscribing, you definitely should, because I will be posting more videos like this in the future with different archetypes. Please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button, and also let me know in the comments below what you feel like or what you're looking for in a video. Spread love, give inspiration in all you do, and peace out.
Welcome to the Crash Show. Take two.